Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The MLG Pro League continues. Benson joined by Maven.
Let's do it, Ben.
Game number 1 in the books. Denal with a 3-1 lead over Team Elevate. Up next, though, is going to be Epsilon versus Optic Nation. And this was another one which Maven decided to go against the pack with. You went Epsilon. Everybody else goes Optic Nation. Thoughts? What was going through the mind of Maeve?
They haven't won yet. They're eventually going to win. This is where they do it, Ben.
This is where they do it.
Epsilon makes their stand for all of their fans out there. Unfortunately, it will be against Optic Nation this evening. Nogafin going to have a massive series. Swanee is going to roar like a lion. That's all I've got.
This is going to be the issue for you, though. You ready for this?
Swanee broke both his hands.
I mean, there is that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, what?
No, that would be crazy. Band hosts Remy and Miracles. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Okay. Optic Nation is going to host map number 1, map number 2, map number 5. If it goes
in the hell?
The distance. Epsilon have opted to go for 3 and 4. They're the home team this evening.
Okay.
So
I gotta think they know more about it than we do, and they felt most comfortable hosting 3 and 4. They're gonna steal.
I mean, map number 1 is Drift, so I can kind of understand not wanting to host that. It's kind of
Swanee's gonna go off here. Swanee's dropping like 45.
You reckon Swanee's gonna go off? I don't know. I'm looking at Miracles to play pretty well throughout the evening. Okay. Last time I saw Optic Nation, Embo's had a great evening as well. Top fragged in Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, and Uplink. So
yeah, Bo's has been playing great.
He has.
And now, not to just the only reason I make it myself sound surprised, just because in the past, I mean, anytime I really watch Bo's, I expect it's like a 50-50. Either Bo's is going to go off, or he's going to have a game that wasn't very impressive. And just trying to at least think through the online season here for Season 3, every time I've cast him or watched him play, he's been going big. So props to Bo's, playing really well right now. Obviously, that switch for Mochilla, with Mochilla for Killa, that I believe was mostly his call. He feels better about it. It seems like the team's playing better with it.
Well, map number 1, as we said, going to be Drift Hardpoint. Epsilon desperately looking for their first win in the Pro League. Optic Nation standing in front of them. And as we said, we both have differing opinions here. I went Nation, you went Epsilon as well. If you're on Vulcan and you're doing some fantasy betting, between myself and Matt, as we talked about earlier on in the show, we both have Miracles as a fantasy play today. He was an absolute steal. It was almost impossible not to go with him. Only a $1,032 salary. Kind of had to go with him. You see a player at that steal, but also Matt decided to go with Remy, who again was also a steal. I believe he was actually sub 1,000, yeah, $933 salary. So definitely a play to keep your eye out for today in fantasy. But Epsilon off to a great start, and speaking of Remy, it's him, 4-0 on the first hill, Maeve.
Yeah, and I mentioned Nogafin as well, 5-1, about to be 6-1. Sorry, no, it's Remy stealing all his kills. So that's going to work out for both of us. As Remy is 7-0.
Okay.
I will go get eyes on with Remy. He's eventually going to fall. A 3 streak still for Nogafin now, because he's going to push behind the hard point. Not able to clean that up, but a teammate will get it. And I'll tell you one thing about the score of the current game. Optic Nation doesn't have any points.
That's a bit of an issue. Gonna be honest. You can't win hard point without any points.
Oh no, you cannot.
55-0.
Second hard point is where you can really start to get some money time, and it looks like Nation has finally broken. So they're going to get set up. You'll have Ricky and Bo's both in the hard point trying to get rolling here. But you can't have, this is going to be, you said they're hosting 1-2-5. You can't have a slow start like this in game number 1 hard point when you're hosting. That's
pretty tragic, to be honest with you. Epsilon coming out looking very strong. Remy and Nagafen both were combining for just huge numbers off the first hard point, both +7 kills. Swanee locking things down. It's actually Royalty, surprisingly, off to a slow start, but one of the more consistent players, of course, for this Epsilon squad throughout the season. I say consistency with a pinch of salt. Of course, they have been losing, but still, he's been putting up some decent numbers, and he's going to fight for that scrap time and connect. Nation able to pick up 26 points. The rotation out to the next hard point is pretty key. Nation's going to need to win it if they're going to bring themselves back into this game.
I need Callum Swanee to really get hyped up. I don't know why he's referred to him by his Twitter account, but that's probably because I'm getting ready to tweet him. He gets fired up. They hadn't really lead.
Yeah, tweet him.
Remy, I talked about the fact that Nogafin and Swanee are off. Remy, though, really still carrying the way at 14-5. They've still got a 30-point advantage right now. I'm watching Moch try to get the cut as they're rotating across here mid-map, and he's going to lose a gunfight there with Swanee mid-map. But it's Miracles and crew battling it out right now for the hard point.
He's had a great game so far. Can Remy continue it? 14 and 6. It's going to be on the hard point. Has it contested. Picks up one, picks up two. Looking for the third. Going to get challenged. Unfortunately, does fall. Nation bringing themselves back into the game. 80 to 40 now. They are down. And honestly, if Epsilon continue playing like this for the rest of the evening, Maeve, this could well be that first win they've been looking for.
Yeah, they're looking really, really strong. And this is one thing I noticed. I casted one or two of the Epsilon series thus far in the league, and Remy is usually that guy, online, LAN, whatever you want to talk about, where we see him going 35 and 35 with 15 caps, 40 and 40 with 15 caps, just really being very aggressive, putting up massive numbers in hardpoint, and that's what we've come to expect. We weren't really getting that out of him the first couple series that I watched. It seems like he's back on pace right now. He is just absolutely crushing.
Yeah, he's playing extremely well. Remy drops down, picks up another kill. Of course, this is off-host performance. This is an Optic Nation host, and Remy was targeted as host as well. So it's almost as if Remy's coming out saying, guess what, I don't even need to host, boys. Watch me tear this up. As he is playing extremely well, but Nation doing well to just kind of hang in there. Early on, it seems to me.
And that was behind a 6 streak from Moch. He was really starting to put up some kills there. We talked about the fact that Bose has those games where he can underperform to a degree. Right now, starting out slow, 6 and 16, and you know, this game, I think more than any other, really, you need all 4 players putting up numbers when it comes to slaying in this particular game mode, hardpoint. But you know, I say that, but on the other side, look at Royalty. He's been struggling as well too. As we saw in Season 3 relegation, he was an absolute monster, just going off every game. It was so fun to watch him on that 12 cents. I'm starting to wonder if it's just the pressure of now being on a pro team, or maybe it's playing online with that 12 cents. But I haven't really seen him have a very strong series at all since we started Season 3.
He's had a couple of moments here and there, but you're very much correct. Maybe he hasn't really shone as he did at that relegation tournament. Hardpoint will actually get broken finally. Swanee now trying to put some shots in. He's going to fall, as does Remy. And despite us really spending a lot of the time speaking about Epsilon, you know, you got Remy, Swanee, and Nagafen playing very well. You know, Optic Nation keeping themselves in the game. Bose, though, underperforming as well. We talk about Royalty, 8 and 20 from Bose. That is not what we expected. You know, we talked about last time he was playing in the Pro League, he had a great evening. This, definitely not great.
And who was do we know who the host is for Optic Nation right now, by chance?
It's not Miracles, that's all I can tell you. I presume it'd be Machilla.
Yeah, because I know Moch had his band last time I casted them, and I've seen him go on 2 separate 6 streaks right now. So the bow working very, very well for Moch, and Moch, a player that can be so dominant with that bow. Miracles, watching him take names, he's going to have to drop down. He is starting to get a little bit of time there for them. They've just been down, what, it seems like 40 to 50. They've been down since the break. They haven't really been able to get inside of that mark. We'll see if they can do it here on this hard point, but only 4 minutes left to go. Still got a hill to climb here, Ben.
Yeah, they do. 50+ points now, the difference. As Nagafen already setting up for that next hard point. You'll allow them to get that scrap time. That's no big deal to him. Just 4 or 5 points. Really isn't going to chalk down that big lead they have, as Moch actually just gets that shot. I actually switched over to Moch's perspective there. I thought he was going to win the gunfight. Nagafen says, I don't think so. Remy, though, with a monumental performance here, maybe 27 and 17. Can't keep my eyes off him. I'm going to go back on board with him. ASM1 in hand, waiting for someone to challenge the hill. And if Optic Nation aren't careful, this could be nearly a 100-point lead off this hard point.
The one they have to lock down, really pick up a lot of time. And there's Remy, melts 1, melts 2. There was a third player. I guess he didn't see him tough, where he's going to get pushed. He's going to take that one. And getting it done with really every weapon right now. You saw him start off 7-0, getting it done with the bow. Now you see him getting it done with the ASM1. But despite that, Optic still with the chance to break it. Good defensive stand there at home. That was Royalty who held off a player or two as they were trying to push. Optic just not able to get this hard point and lock it down for any amount of time right now. It's going to be some tough contesting, though. Yeah,
good job contesting, but again, Bose picks up the scrap time. Not really what you want. You need that chunk time, and luckily, though, Ricky has rotated pretty early. Val in the hard point. Needs some support from his teammates, though, because Ricky, only 18 and 26, struggling to get things going. And it's just Remy who's been shutting everything down. But again, this is one of those hard points where you could just lock this down, maybe, and you're back in it. It's going to be an even game if Optic Nation can do that. And so far, so good for them. 39 seconds left. They are reducing that lead, now down to just 30 points.
Yeah, they've got to get that bottom right spawn, basically having to come all the way from the last hard point. And this hike is they've only been able to get 2 or so rotations in to try and attack this within this entire hard point. And you can see how quickly they're catching up. The 50-point lead all but evaporates. They've got enough time here to almost tie this up, but you do see finally Epsilon able to break it. Now they're going to get the scrap time. For the most part, that's all that we've seen Optic Nation get is kind of last 15 to 20 points. The roles have reversed here. Let's see if Optic Nation can build upon that final hard point.
Next hard point's going to be massive, and Epsilon don't want to take any risks. They've rotated and they've set up pretty nicely. But Swanee's going to lose that gunfight. And this has been the story of Epsilon in the Pro League, having big leads and kind of throwing them away. It's not necessarily what's going wrong, it's just kind of, it's so hard to explain, mate. They just look as if they don't want to win some of these games. It's bizarre. And finally, it looks as if they're locking this one down. But for a minute there, I thought Optic Nation were going to come back in and potentially make the comeback story. Remy trying to prevent that, though. A 7 streak, about to drop his 40th kill of the game. He has 12 caps as well. You know, we talked about him when we were doing the Vulcan segment, but an absolute steal for your fantasy team today. And he is not disappointing here in map number 1.
I'm surprised Remy was such a steal. I mean, for me, he's the one that you kind of expect to get big points just because, again, those 40, 15 cap type games and hard points, especially with having 2 hard points. Now, he's a player at absolutely one of my fantasy roster, but going 43 and 23 right now with 12 caps, I mean, just looking statistically at his performance right now compared to every other player, it's an absolute joke in this game. He's getting it done, and he will be the reason they steal this game. And with, what, 45 seconds left, they're up 50. This one's already over. Yeah,
this one's done. Epsilon come out strong.
That's why Made looking good with that pick.
I mean, that's an off-host win, too. Optic Nation, really, they have to look at how they started this game. It was just abysmal. Almost
well, I mean,
50 point down.
On the opposite side, Remy, you can't say more about it. I mean, he started out 7-0. He ends 41 and 25 right now. Just had a monster game. And the problem they've had, to me, I know I've said this many times, I probably sound like a broken record, but the thing I took the most from interviews at relegation and just listening to their in-game chatter during the Turtle Beach team chats at relegation was the fact that they didn't really have the best communication. They didn't really have a clear-cut vocal leader.
Right.
And that's going to punish you, especially late in games. Do I think that Swanee can be that? Do I think he ultimately will be? Yes, but it just didn't seem like he was yet, and they need that. And I think that's kind of the reason they've struggled so far. But unfortunately for them, I think when it comes down to the easiest and hardest things to fix for a team, I think communication can be one of the most difficult things to fix. So we'll see if they can do it. They've got to get it rolling early, as we've got a much shorter season this year. Yeah, massively. It's basically cut in half from 44 games to 22. But Remy coming out looking fantastic. Epsilon go 1-0 up with an off-host win. This is a team who haven't won a single game in the Pro League thus far. Maven finally decided to back them this evening, and so far, so good. For now, though, quick commercial break. When we return, jumping over to Search and Destroy, still on our Optic Nation host.